Launch day has begun and Monster Hunter Wilds is kicking off in full force. For a lot of people, this will be their first foray into the Monster Hunter universe, and it can definitely be quite the hurdle despite this being marketed as the most approachable game in the series. In this video today, I want to go over a lot of the game concepts on a high level that you either probably don't know about or the game doesn't do a good job of explaining to you. If you're a veteran of the long war and you've been playing Monster Hunter through all the many iterations, I don't want to waste your time, and I want to let you know that you won't find anything terribly new in this video. You already know what the field guide is after all. But if this is your first time on my channel, the way I do things is by uploading the knowledge of my videos so you can find the entire list of what I'll be covering in the chapters with the timeline in the description. Before we get started, let me just tell you that this game is difficult. You're playing a series that has over 20 years of games that have come out. While the systems have not overly changed, they have indeed gotten more complex. So if you're struggling right now because of the UI or anything else, I promise it gets better as your muscle memory kicks in. Think of it like plugging into a fighting game for the first time. Smash some buttons, learn the game concepts, and spend some time in the training area, and you'll start to really click with the weapon and game before you know it. I really struggled with Monster Hunter World way back, and now it's one of my favorite series. There was just a small learning curve to really adapt to. But that's the too long didn't watch this entire video, so if nothing on the list below interested you, then please feel free to shut the video down and get back to hunting some monsters. Before you head out, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you find the info in this video helpful. Also, if you've not yet picked up the game, you can do so using my Fanatical link in the description. It's 18% off through them, and I also get an 8% commission, which goes towards my Mini Aussies Endless Toy Fund. Lastly, check me out on Twitch, linked below, where I'll be streaming and doing a giveaway of the game as well. But let's get started on the ultimate beginner tips in Monster Hunter Wilds. Our first tip is actually going to be in the options menu. So what we're going to do here is we're going to navigate over to the info screen. You'll notice that little magnifying glass on the piece of paper, and we're going to go down here to Play Guide. Once we go into Play Guide, we have the biggest thing that we're going to need. It's the weapon controls. This is your bread and butter for the majority of your playthrough in Monster Hunter Wilds, or at least if you're just starting out. Because through this screen, you're going to be able to take a look at every single weapon and get an idea, or at least some context on the certain things. So for example, I'm using a sword and shield. So I have standard attack, special attack, advancing slash, all these different types of attacks from this weapon. And then you'll notice that I have a blip at the top up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and press right trigger. If you're on a keyboard and mouse, let's see, that's C and Z. So right trigger here allows me to take a look at all of the basic and powerful monster stunning combos, charge slash combos, perfect rush combos that the game offers you. Now, keep in mind too that there are more combos to take advantage of. And what's nice as well, on the right side of the screen, you're gonna see a handy little video that shows you what this combo looks like. So when you jump into the training area, which we'll talk about in a second, this is a great way to get context on how those moves work. But when you take a look at Sword and Shield, you just have two blips. When you look at Hunting Horn, there's more, it gives you just more information about each one of these weapons, which is going to be helpful for our second tip in just a little bit. But definitely take a look at the Weapon Controls tab in the Play Guide under the Info selection in the option screen, because it's going to give you a ton of valuable information that the game doesn't really tell you about. And if you're brand new to the series, it's going to help you crack open a lot of that learning curve. Our next topic is about selecting your weapon. And I'm in the training area, and it makes a very annoying little like beeping noise in the background, so I apologize if that annoys you. But selecting your weapon is really going to come down to you. Don't worry about tier lists. Don't worry about internet videos that tell you this is the absolute best weapon you have to choose. And if you don't choose this weapon, why would we even play the game? Fuck all that. You spent your money on a video game. You play it exactly how you want to. You have a ton of different weapons to choose from. But what I want you to take a look at is, rather than looking at these as weapons, look at them as fighters in Street Fighter, characters in Mortal Kombat. Because at the end of the day, while this is Monster Hunter, this is also a Capcom game. And I want you to take a look at these individual weapons as those fighters, because you're learning a move set. And by learning that move set and that fighter, you're also learning the characteristics of that game. It's no different here in Monster Hunter. Choose any one of these. Choose Rule of Cool. Whatever one of these looks cool and badass to you, that's the one you go with. And at any point, you can pivot to a different one if you want. At any point in the game, there's nothing holding you back from doing so. It is worth noting that doing that a bunch of times in the beginning portion can slow your progress down because you'll be wasting materials and upgrading them. But at the very, very beginning, as long as you're not upgrading stuff, don't worry about it. Try them all out. See what you like, see what resonates with you. You can go and just do it in the training area and have as much fun as you want. You get to choose 2 of these, which is different from other Monster Hunters where you only just take 1 into your quest. Now you've got 2 roving around as you see fit. I'm using a sword and shield and a bow, and it's great. But you know what? I keep debating which one I'm going to use as my primary or main or whatever it is. But who cares? You can just simply swap it off whenever you want. So please have fun with your selection of your weapon, and don't be afraid. Have the strength to change and choose a new one if you so wish, if you see you're on a wrong path. That's a life lesson more than anything. But let's jump now that we've got an idea of how to use these weapons, which weapon to choose, how do we bring this all together? And we do it using the training dummy. The training dummy is right in the camp area. It shows you where to get there, but I can just show you guys real quick. But the training dummy is pretty much going to give you all the stuff that you need to get a better idea of how to play your weapon to the fullest of its extent. So from the base camp, you can see you've got all the main like hubs right there. That's the exit to the base camp. You come, if your tent is right over here. Hello, my lady Gemma. You've got your tent right there, right? So you just come past my lady Gemma, over here, up over here, and you just go right here into the training section. And the training area is you're gonna spend a lot of time here, and you're gonna spend a lot of time here in between points of the game too, as you learn more stuff. It's got a ton of combos that are just up in your face right away. So you can just go ahead and go to town on them. And it shows you, what you're doing there, right? Like, oh, okay, we're doing this and doing that, and just going through the whole entire shebang. So you can go ahead and do that if you so wish, but you know what? Maybe you want to get better at your perfect guard if you're playing with anything that's got a shield that can do so. Maybe you want to get better when it comes to getting the individual wounds on targets. Maybe you want to get better at dodging things. Well, we're going to come over to this little palico here, sheath my weapon, young Luke, and the training area manager gives us the ability to change the settings of things. We have hide settings, just the performance barrels hide settings if we want to do that. But we have wound settings so that we can just specifically try and practice our wounds. We have modes. Now, these are the important ones. Standby is what you just saw. Smash mode, I'll put it on automatic, but smash mode is going to smash the ground. Throw mode or automatic, which just bounces between these two. Throw mode means it's literally going to throw something at you. When you select smash mode, you can choose your pattern to be either the smash is a weak smash and it knocks you back, it sends you flying, or you can't guard against it. And this again gives you the opportunity to give you ways to learn how to dodge, ways to learn how to time your perfect guard. I'm not the best at it just yet, so here we'll do this because it'll bring us up into another tip. So now you can see that arm's coming up here, and I can definitely get hit just like that. What a great video! What a great video again. This guy should make YouTube videos. But you come over here and you just there we go. I got a perfect guard. You can go ahead and just, okay, maybe I want to work on my evade or whatever it is. But if you let this thing hit you, you can see it sends you flying because that's the strength that we chose with the arm. And like I said too, you can have that thing throw barrels at you if you want to try those dodges and what have you. But definitely spend time in here and do this training because it's going to enable you to get better at your weapon, at the game, and understanding all the mechanics around your monsters and what have you. But here's a quick little tip. When it comes to getting knocked down in this game, you can get up and you can roll out of the way. Sometimes just being knocked down actually is a good way to prevent you from dying. But let's go ahead and take our weapon out, and I want this thing to hit me. And here's a little tricky poo that you can use against the getting knocked down. So we knock down, we're over here, move my character, and I get back up, right? Well, rather than doing that, to get yourself some iframes in a dire situation, you can press up immediately and have your secret just go ahead and pick you up. Secret, I can't pronounce it. Just pick you up immediately. This allows you some iframes and the capability to just kind of reposition yourself in the fight, whatever the situation is. But again, just making sure that whenever you get hit, using this ability to just quickly get up. And in those cases too, that's not too bad of a hit. You can clearly see I was getting up fast. But take advantage of this to make yourself have some iframes, and for those who don't know what that term means, it means invulnerability frames, in which case your character is immune to damage through carrying through whatever animation that they've got. So keep that in mind if you get knocked down. Bringing us back into our options menu, let's talk about your radial menu. So if I hold down my left bumper, I bring up this screen where I can just simply move with my D-pad to these different radial menus that I've got. If you're playing on PC, that is, what is it on PC here? It's Ctrl, and then I can use the function keys, F1 through whatever, to switch to the different radial menus. But if I go ahead and press escape, and then come down to customize radial menu, you can see a very powerful feature. It's got the default ones already enabled here, right? So the whetstone, optimal healing, SOS flare, and the soothing effect one. Like, oh, okay, I'm poisoned. Let me use this berry. Or your ammo, or your communication, or your essential items. But you can also make your own radial menu loadouts. Why you would want to do this is, let's go ahead and tap one of these. I can use any one of my consumable items, and maybe I want to put all of my bombs in this section. And we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Bombs are a great way to wake up certain monsters depending on your weapon type. Maybe I want to put all my specific mushrooms in this location, whatever it is. But I can also put ammo and coating, which you already have a radial menu option for this, but just to kind of show these things off. Essential items here. So you can have just one specifically for essential items if you so wish, which already exists. But you can also have this be a radial menu for crafting. Like, okay, I'm on the go. Let me craft some potions, some mega potions, some antidotes, some herbal medicine, what have you. You go through this list and use your radial menu to help you craft. But you can also use it for communication, which we're going to have in our next tip, because these callouts and these communications and stickers are actually very crucial to helping you quickly navigate and communicate within the game and the lobbies you're in, especially if you're playing solo or with a small group, like maybe 2 people, 3 people, that you just need to be able to just use some quick shout outs to help out in certain situations as I smack my microphone with my hand. But all these things are really great ways to leverage a lot of the things that the game has to offer you in a quick way, rather than having to jump through all of these menu screens and all the little things that there's tons of UI elements. This allows you to really circumvent a lot of them. So with that radial menu though, comes communication. So I'm going to go ahead and press start, go to escape, and we're going to go to the communication tab, the little chat bubble here. And then the first option is communication. We're going to click that, press that, type that, whatever it is. And we're going to go through some of these. You've got your manual shout outs, which you've already used. Stuff like nice to meet you, thanks, good work, sorry, don't sweat it. But custom shout outs, which you can have be this whatever you wish. So from this screen, I can go ahead and press Y, and I can go press edit text. And I can have this say, rather than look over here, it can be anything. It says like, don't do anything illegal. I'm like, oh, don't offer drugs in your custom shout outs. But as I press right bumper, you can see a very important one called auto shout outs. And some of these you might want to change or shut off. So when you mount on a monster, the game will shout out, I mounted the monster. When you set a trap, I just set up a trap. When you set up a bomb, hey, I just planted a bomb. Now, these things are crucial for yourself, but also the NPC hunters that you can call in with the SOS flare will react to these things. If you plant a bomb, they'll hear that and they'll go plant a bomb as well. But if we go ahead and go over here to when you faint, this one just says sorry. That's not very helpful if you're playing with friends or people, right? You can have this say, I can go ahead and press submenu, go to edit text, and have it say something like, I just fainted, rather than whatever it was, rather than sorry, right? Like this is a little bit more like, oh dude, our guy just fainted. Or you can have it be an RP situation. You can have it be something cheeky or funny, whatever you want. But changing auto shout outs to help you communicate with your friends is crucial, so that maybe, you know, in a crowded Discord channel or what have you, you can have these things circumvent a lot of communication you would otherwise be doing yourself. This next one is another real quick one. But if you hold down Control or left bumper, you get all the information that you would have had maybe when you were engaged in something or what have you, and it gives you a lot of context of what's going on. In the upper left corner here, maybe I can use my mouse. Nope, can't use my mouse. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see a number counting down, 41, 43. That's the time left on my meal. I can see my stamina, my health, my relative sharpness, my health of my palico, all sorts of things. It's evening and fallow out. You can see everything, right? But in the lower right corner, you can also see some more information. So if I release lower left bumper, you can see it's got the X button down there. It's blank. If I hold down, I can go through my item pouch as it is using X and B, which is very helpful. And then I can press the select button and I can blow out. Whoa. I can take a look at my entire item pouch to just quickly select something. This is really helpful because sometimes I find that navigating with X and B is just really counterintuitive to the way I'm probably used to doing things, which is with my right stick. So if I'm just over here in this screen, left bumper, select, and I'm using right stick to quickly navigate my item pouch and have my mega potions active for me or whatever it is. I mean, conversely too, you can always access this through your radio menus, right? But I just find that using that kind of knowing that you can press select to navigate that is a little bit faster of a situation than trying to deal with the radio menus until you build that muscle memory. Guess what? We're going to go back into the options screen. I'm going to press start here, and I'm going to look for that little magnifying glass on the question mark on the page in the info section, and I'm going to go to the monster field guide. Those of you that are Monster Hunter veterans are used to going into the field guide. You've got large, small monster field guide, endemic life field guide. Large monster field guide is pretty much the big one we want to look at here because we get a lot of things going on in this situation. So from here we have the Chupacabra, right? The very first monster that you kill. And in this screen, we get a lot of information. We get characteristics, any special attacks if we've seen them, if they've got them. But a lot of this too is discovered as you play through the game. So take for example here, I've not seen the Balahara, right? And I've got no information on it. But with the Chupacabra, I've hunted 2 of them on this character. And I can see that I've got a weak point in the tongue, the breakable forelegs. But as I discover more things that are breakable or severable, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I know that it'll get charted here on this. I can also see a big thing here that is new, effective status effects, effective items, which is the biggest one, recommended elemental attacks that you can use against this creature, as well as which resources you get from them, as well as what it comes from, which broken part, and the frequency in which you'll get it. So all these bits of information might seem like, census overload, but it's nice to be able to get this information in one spot. So if you're hunting specific things for crafting, which you will be doing when you use the wish list down the road, that's in an advanced tips video. If you're new, if you're not new, you know to check this, but if you're new, you don't really know because the game kind of briefly talks about it. And this then brings me to my next point about harvesting. So you've killed your first monster and you've harvested it, right? And when you harvest it, you get some goods. Well, there's some other things that you need to look at. Let's take a look back over here on our monster field guide. We have the Chupacabra. Let's go ahead and pop this over here to the that guy, the cockatrice. And you've got some things here. Broken boot. There we go. The head is breakable. The neck is a weak point. The tail is breakable / severable. So there will be some body parts on some monsters that you can sever. Some weapons are better at severing than other weapons, and it also depends upon what you are trying to sever. Like say a horn is easier to break off with a smashing weapon than it is with a cutting weapon, versus a tail, which is easier to cut off with a greatsword than it is with a sword and shield. So relative damage is what allows you to usually sever things. And when you sever an object from or a body part from a monster, it will drop to the ground and you have to harvest it just like carve it, just like you do when you carve a creature at the end of a hunt. So when you knock those parts off, be on the lookout for them. They'll be glowing. Just go ahead and take advantage of them. And you'll notice through this screen if there are any that are severable and what you'll get from them, right? Okay, carving, severed part, and what you'll get, right? So this is going to give us the tail versus the broken part reward over there is the crest. So this gives you a context of how those parts come together for your character. Some of our last tips here are going to take place in our tent. So let's go into our tent and we want to talk about the item pouch, because the item pouch is honestly a pain in the ass. I'm not even going to beat off on a bush here. Is that the term? So we're going to go over here to transfer items. And then right here, we've got our item pouch. And in this item pouch, we have all the items that you guessed it are in our pouch. And this is the items that you're carrying around that you're going to be quickly accessing on the fly. Stuff like rations are very important. Null berries are very important. Antidotes, potions, all these things. Well, you can do a number of things in this situation. For one, let's go ahead and press Y to bring up our submenu, and let's restock all of the items. To restock these up to their max of whatever it is, if I've got it in my item box. Item box, for all intents and purposes, is your storage. So if you've played any kind of action RPG, you know what this is. It's a storage. Everything that you get in a hunt goes here. So if you carved something, if you won something, if you got something during a hunt, whatever it is, it all goes into this item box. And from there, you can sell it in another screen or use it to stash into your item pouch. So I just pressed restock and it turned my mega potions from 9 up to 10. And I can also restock all ammo. So all ammo has been restocked. This is great. It's awesome, right? You can just quickly go ahead and it helps you to quickly navigate this menu. But the default item pouch is just filled with junk. It's pretty much everything you pick up just immediately gets thrown into this, right? Like ivy and fire herbs. These are two things that are not in my standard loadout. So I'm going to press down on my left stick, or what is it on PC? It's shift. And I can see my item loadouts. So I have a custom one here at 4. The game puts you at 1 by default, but you have all these custom loadouts that you can make however you want to do them. And as you get better in the game and know more, you will use these more, and you've got plenty to take access. You have plenty to access, right? Let me go over my loadout real quickly, because this is the one I recommend that you stick with as you're just kind of learning the game. You've got some kind of ammo here, flash pods, screamer pods, bombs, which we'll talk about at the end of this video, herbs, helps you craft your potions, honey, as I run out of breath while speaking, rations, blue mushrooms. Basically, you'll use these for restorative items to make antidotes. Null berries, which will help you deal with various blights that you'll encounter. You'll a lot of it's like the fire pitch that you deal with from the cockatrice helps. Nullberry helps with that. Antidotes, potions. Those are the primary things that you want to hold on to when you first start off. Let's restock all those. Boom, here we go. When you first start off, because these are the things you're going to use the most. As you learn more about the items in the game and how they interact with things, you'll want to fill these out with other stuff, but this gives you an idea of how to use this. Then you can just simply rearrange these as you see fit and just kind of access them in whatever way you want. Still within our camp, we should talk about grilling. Now, you don't need to do this in your camp. You also get the grill on a go feature. You unlock it's like the first or second actual story quest, but you'll see grill a meal here, and you've got recommended meals that you can go with. You can do favorite meals, which we'll talk about in a sec, but custom meals is what we want to take a look at. So we want to choose a ration. So red things, or meat in this case, is typically going to give you health, stamina, but also, you see that little weapon right there? This little guy? That's telling me I'm going to get an attack bonus. Blue is typically going to help us out with defense. You can see that this is going to give me the same amount of health and stamina. Then veggies will help out in this case with elemental defense and standard defense. So you'll want to choose the ones that are going to fit the situation you're either going into. Like, hey, we're about to deal with something that's going to do a lot of elemental attacks. Let me make sure to eat something with elemental resistance, and then add additional things here to get this defender meal low, which sometimes decreases damage taken. That is a triggered effect from the additional ingredient of this meal. Always make and eat food. It is hugely important to the entire Monster Hunter series. It's a big trope, and it's beautiful because the food looks so good in this game. But using food gives you a leg up in all of your fights. And the nice thing about it is you can see this one's going to last for 50 minutes. I just did a hunt a little bit ago. It was like 6.5 minutes. So they last for a long time through a lot of content. So you don't have to constantly be re-upping these. They go a long way. Make sure you're eating your food. And the last thing I want to bring up is actually just kind of a fun one, but depending upon what weapon you're using, you will have the capability to alpha strike things, as it were. And what I mean by that is the ability to really just pack a punch with one single hit. An example of this would be the bow's Dragon Piercer. If you're using any of the heavy weapons like the great sword, a hammer, charge blade, stuff like that, they have really big opening alpha strikes. So you can use these on monsters that you have chased, and when they're asleep. So they're asleep, this gives you a chance to really drop a really good amount of damage. Well, if you're using a sword and shield like I am, you don't really have a big heavy opener. So you can use these bombs. As you can see here, we place the bomb, and then when we place the bomb, my NPCs go ahead and place it too, because I use an SOS flare. This is before the game went live, so there was no servers to take advantage of. And then I'm just going to roll another bomb towards it. You can shoot at a bomb if you want, if you have any of the range weapons. There's plenty of ways to hit the bombs, but this just does a ton of damage to any sleeping monster right out the gate. if you have a weapon that otherwise cannot do big alpha strikes. So at that, it brings our video here to a close, and hopefully this helped you get a good idea of just some things that'll help you in Monster Hunter Wilds. Like I said, this isn't one of those videos where it's like, you're gonna go over here, you're gonna pick up this thing, you're gonna do that over there, and then you're gonna be good to go because I just told you all the best items to get in the beginning of the game. No, I wanted to give you an understanding of a lot of the more abstract concepts of this game, because the beginning tutorial doesn't do the best job of really introducing you to these systems, which are A, complex, B, have a clunky UI, and C, they're absolutely integral to the longevity of your playthrough of the game. I didn't even go into wish lists and how wish lists are so crucial to crafting, but in the beginning, you're not going to encounter that so much because crafting is not going to be insanely complex. When you start to get to the mid game, when you have to deal with a bunch of different pieces from a bunch of different monsters, the wish list comes in handy. But for now, just play the game, enjoy yourself, try not to get overwhelmed. And if you do, just take it a step at a time. The game is overwhelming because it has like 20 years of systems built into it. And the systems have been roughly the same throughout almost every single Monster Hunter. They've just gotten better and better, but at the same time, they've also gotten more and more complex. So if you are confused, you are lost, it's normal. When I played Monster Hunter World, I wanted to eat my own hand. It was pissing me off that much. Just stick with it. Take it one mechanic at a time. Say the next time you play the game, well, you know what? Today I'm really going to just drill down on radial menus and figure the system out because it's pissing me off. Just have one of those systems be your objective for that play session. And do this with every single one that really confuses you. Write them down. Say, hey, here's the 6. Take those 6 sessions, divide it up and go, okay, I'm going to just hit one a session. That way you'll be able to consume the game piecemeal. You won't feel overwhelmed and you'll be able to enjoy yourself. And worst comes to worst, it's basically a fighting game. Smash the buttons until you learn and you'll definitely come out on top eventually. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. If you have any other good tips, go ahead and let it be known below. But as always, again, have a good one and take care.